Nintendo announced 4 more games coming to the Super Nintendo Online and 1 more NES game, and they include Donkey Kong Country 3. Hey Nintendo fans and collectors, Lithium here from my channel Nintendo Collecting. That's right, on December the 18th, we're going to get 5 more games to the Nintendo Switch Online service, which includes Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble, also from the Super Nintendo, the Ignition Factor, Super Valis 4, and Tough Enough. Then for the NES, we are getting Nightshade. So first and foremost, I'm really happy to see Donkey Kong Country 3 coming out on this service. We already have 1 and 2, Diddy's Conquest, such a cool pun and play on words there for that title. So it's great to get the third one. I don't like the playable characters in this game as much as I do in Donkey Kong Country 2, and this is actually my wife's favorite trilogy of all time, going all the way back to the Super Nintendo. She was actually playing it handheld mode back then on her Game Boy Advance, but I'm really happy to see this add to the Switch console. However, the picks for the games that are coming to the Switch Online service are kind of troubling to a lot of fans. We are now years into this service, and we are still missing so many heavy hitters from the NES and the Super Nintendo. I'm going to focus more on the Super Nintendo because 4 games were announced for the Super Nintendo this time around. But I'm just looking at the Nintendo Switch Online service right here that I have on my Switch, just to kind of scroll through. This is what's available right now. Those games are coming out on the 18th. So of course, you do see some really nice gems here. The Breath of Fire games, also Demon's Crest. You get the Donkey Kong Country games. We're going to have that trilogy, F-Zero, the 3 of the Kirby games, The Legend of Zelda, some Picross game that wasn't even out in North America. Pilot Wings is good to see. The Star Fox games, including Star Fox 2, which was available on the Super Nintendo Classic over there. You have Stunt Race, fantastic racing games, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario All-Stars, I'm not naming all of them, just most of them, Mario Kart, Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, but you might notice a giant Mario game is missing from this. Super Metroid, Punch-Out, Super Soccer, Wild Guns is fantastic to see as well. But we're missing so many heavy hitters on this that when they announced 4 more Super Nintendo games, I don't know about you, but I had my hopes up a lot higher than only Donkey Kong Country 3. And then the other games are fine. The Ignition Factor, Super Valis 4, Tough Enough, those are fine NES games, but they're not the huge heavy hitters. Nintendo's definitely gotten in some issues with the press right now, and their public relations team is probably needs some positivity. So this is a step in the right direction, but let me know if they did enough with these releases that are coming out, and what games would you like to see from the online system? I'm going to talk about 10 Super Nintendo games that I would rather have, and I'm focusing on Super Nintendo because 4 games were announced, of which I'm only really excited personally for 1 of them. So let's go through the games that I would love to see on the online service. First one here is Super Mario RPG. I do own these games, so basically these are games that I would really recommend for the general public to play if they've never played them before. And again, I want to hear your thoughts. So Super Mario RPG, there's no reason for this not to be out already. It is a game that people always love playing. It's the prequel, basically, to the Paper Mario series, which was definitely in the huge part of the discussion in 2020 with Origami King, and a lot of people love the RPG Mario series, and right now I am starving for a Mario RPG to play on the go. I know you can play a lot of other Mario games on the Switch online, or the Switch in general, but you can't play many Mario RPGs anymore because the Mario and Luigi saga is kind of done with the system, with the producer of the game kind of going out of business, which is insane to me. And then the Paper Mario series is now no longer an RPG. So this game I would love to have out on the Switch Online system. We definitely should have it. Next up, I'm not going to wait long to talk about this, is Earthbound. Fans have been talking about Earthbound and Mother for so long. When Reggie was still working at Nintendo, there was talk about Mother maybe being released in North America and translations and Mother 3 and everything like that. So it is insane to me that Earthbound is not on this set. You know what? The SNES Classic kind of maybe did better than what the Switch Online is right now just for the Super Nintendo, which is insane to me. Maybe they want people still to buy the SNES Classic Edition, and if they do, maybe they should still be producing it. But, hopefully this is coming. This is what I was expecting. This is what I really wanted to come out on it, because playing this on the go, by the way, really quirky, very different RPG, really wonderful, whimsical world, though. One of the best experiences you can have in gaming, in my opinion. But a lot of people love it, and some people don't mind it at all. It's crazy expensive to get, and that's why it needs to come out on the Switch Online for more people to play it, because it's so hard to pick up a copy of Earthbound at the ridiculous prices. Also ridiculous prices, or speaking of ridiculous prices, is Chrono Trigger. The art on this is done by the same person who drew Dragon Ball Z. This game has so many different endings. Again, it's another RPG, but this game is one of the best on the system, easily in the top 10 Super Nintendo games, and it's another one that's just outrageously expensive that I would want more people to play and more people to experience. Chrono for Smash Bros. Would be so cool, but I don't think that'll ever happen. Geno was another big push from Super Mario RPG, but I'm not sure if that'll ever happen either. Alright, so that's 3 so far. These ones are games that I would love to see. I want to change it up a little bit. So this is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. An arcade 1-up machine came out for this with 4 players, and I'm so tempted to try and look into getting one of those, because Jordan and I have been playing through this, and we made it finally to the boss, we made it to Shredder, and we lost. We've never played through this game together ever before. I want to shout out my other friend Kendall growing up. He kind of taught me how to play this game, and I was playing it with him at his place. Such a cool game, multiplayer, lots of fun. What I could never do as a kid was pick up a character and throw them into the screen, because one of the bosses, that's what you have to do. Jordan and I figured out together. It was a lot of fun, and we're going to play this game over and over again. Another game that's pretty expensive, it would cost, I think, probably over $50 to get this cartridge alone today. So another reason why I would love to see that come out on the Switch Online. Next up is Secret of Mana, one of the most gorgeous cover arts in any game I've ever played and seen here, and there's a poster of it that I love as well. I should probably do a video of top, game box art. If you have any favorite game box art, let me know. Maybe that'll inspire me for a future video like that. So this is another RPG, however, this one's kind of like a real-time action RPG. So your attacks are instantaneous. You can see the damage coming off the partners or off the enemies, and the NPCs, I guess. But you can also play this game multiplayer. You can play this game 2-player, but also 3-player. It just takes a few hours of gameplay to unlock the 3 characters. So to be able to play this online or locally with up to 3 players would be really, really cool. I would love to play this with friends online if possible, but even locally, just to get to that. Some really big heavy hitters that are so expensive to try and get, by the way. Of course, every single one. Next up is one of the Mega Man X games. Either Mega Man X or X2, to be honest. For my personal pick, I would probably pick X2 out of all of these. And then X3 is even crazier expensive to find, but I probably like 1 and 2. X1 and X2 a bit better. X1 I have so much nostalgia for, watching people stream that online on Twitch frequently, learning how to play the game. But X2, my buddy Reese swears by it. It's the best one, probably out of this trilogy. A Mega Man X game would be so cool on the Switch Online. I can't believe it doesn't already exist. I know Capcom would have to maybe be involved, but they've done that before, so what's stopping them now? This is a fantastic game to get into with speedrunning. There are so many different routes you can take because there's all the different bosses that you can go to in each stage, and certain bosses or stages always give you better power-ups to kind of go beat a different area if you know a certain route. That's how the Mega Man games have always been in the past. So Mega Man X really stepped it up from the original Mega Man, so I'm going to leave Mega Man X out there. One of the 3, probably start with just Mega Man X would be cool. That's just one of the games in the 10 that I want to talk about here, by the way. I think I'll put this up here and pray this doesn't fall mid-video, because that would be pretty funny. Nice trilogy up there. Well, okay, cool. Alright, continuing on. Contra 3, The Alien Wars. The Contra games are run and gun, basically. Try and survive as long as possible. Incredibly difficult. This one has several different gameplay styles. There's one where it's a top-down view, and it was always hard for me to get a control of. But in general, giant bosses, lots of gameplay going on, and it's also a lot of fun. From my memory, I thought you could play this 2-player, but maybe I'm wrong. So you can comment below if I am wrong about that, but definitely a game from Konami that I think a lot of people need to play. I think the original Contra games more people have played, but such a good series, the Contra series. So difficult too, really, really challenging. I'm not sure if this one's going to stand up, so maybe I'll just leave that one. Some of the boxes aren't in mint condition, so a little bit out of whack. Next up is Super Castlevania 4. The Castlevania games on the NES are incredibly expensive to find, as is this one as well, which makes this is actually, I think, my favorite out of the four, personally. I'm always more geared towards Super Nintendo games because I'm a little bit more of that age set, and more N64 and GameCube personally. But if I had to pick between the four Castlevania games, the first four, I would definitely pick this one. The 8 directions when you're attacking is really, really well done, and all of the graphics are exactly what I expect out of this kind of game. I don't want to call this a horror game, but it's a perfect game to play, you know, during Halloween, but a lot of people would argue this is just a great fun game to play at any time. Now, this one, I thought it was on the Super Nintendo Classic Edition, but I cannot believe it's not on the Switch Online. It has to come to that some point. There's already 35 games on the SNES Online, I think, in North America. With 4 more added to it, they're at 39. These aren't on there so far. Now, the last games I want to talk about are fighting games. Either a Mortal Kombat game or a Street Fighter game. Here's Turbo because, I don't know, it's just so fast action-paced. I don't think we have a proper fighting game out of all of these. There are some, like, there's the NWO or something like that. What's it called? I'm not sure. But there is one of the fighting games that's like a wrestling game on the NES Online, Super Nintendo Online, but there aren't these. How is there no Mortal Kombat 2 or Street Fighter? I guess they would have to talk to Capcom and talk to, is it Midway who still makes these games for Mortal Kombat? But these are the perfect games that people want to play online, on the Switch Online anyways, at least locally. So how are they not out there already, especially one-on-one? Again, there is the arcade 1-up cabinet for Mortal Kombat that I saw locally in my area used. I almost want to pick up those arcade machines, put them in the other room that I'm finishing off at some point. Let me know what your thoughts are on arcade machines, by the way, because it's so cool. They even have this as a live edition for Arcade 1-up that you can play online. Anyways, I really wish these games would come to the online, and I don't know why they haven't at any point. Will these ones actually stand up for the end of this? We'll see. Balancing act. Alright, so here's 10 that I would love to see, but what would you love to see? So I have Super Mario RPG, Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, Turtles in Time, Secret of Mana, Mega Man X, Contra 3, Castlevania 4, Mortal Kombat 2, Street Fighter 2. So many games are out on the Switch Online. 39 again, and we don't have these 10 classics. It's great to get Donkey Kong Country 3, but I just want more, Nintendo. You can definitely do more. Another one that I didn't mention that I just want to end off on would be really cool if they did Mario Paint. I don't think Mario Paint's on here. That has like endless gameplay in my opinion. I've seen some people do ridiculously well done art in Mario Paint. You could use the Joy-Cons as a cursor or as a mouse, or you could just use the Super Nintendo controller, or maybe even a USB mouse. If Nintendo could allow us to use those more readily available, that would be cool. Comment below again, what games would you like to see added to the Super Nintendo Online? What's your opinion on arcades? And lastly, what's your favorite cover art on games? I might want to make a video of that in the future. Let me know if you like this video, and if I should do another one for NES games that I would like to see online on the Switch. Go collect them all. If you could click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you aren't. I try to post videos usually on Wednesdays and Sundays around 10 a.m., but sometimes other days of the week too, but generally that's been my schedule if I can help it. Room Tour is less than a week away. It is coming this Sunday, 10 a.m. That should be December 20th, I believe, at 10 a.m. Stay awesome, everyone. Thanks for watching. Keep smiling while gaming.